Growing backlash this morning after an Israeli airstrike kills 7 aid workers in Gaza from the World Central Kitchen charity. Now several humanitarian groups are reportedly putting their operations in Gaza on hold. And President Biden demanding Israel conduct a full investigation, saying this: "I am outraged and heartbroken by the deaths of 7 humanitarian workers. Israel has not done enough to protect aid workers trying to deliver desperately needed help to civilians." End quote there from the president. Let's bring in former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who was a Republican presidential candidate in 2008 and also 2016. Governor, it's good to see you again. Some pretty strong words there from President Biden, who ripped Israel's humanitarian record in this conflict. This strike has really struck a nerve. How much has this damaged our already fraying relationship with Israel?
I think it's unfortunate. In terms of the relationship, what's more unfortunate is that these people were innocents and civilians. They were killed inadvertently, and Israel is taking responsibility. I think that's what's significant, and it deserves some attention, is that Israel has not tried to cover this up and say, oh, no, we didn't do it. They've accepted responsibility, and they've also said they will fully investigate and will hold accountable people who perhaps were responsible for the killing of people who are innocents. The tragedy is that in a war, things happen that end up hurting people that shouldn't be hurt. But I don't want people to forget that this all started on October the 7th, when Hamas went into Israel and butchered. They didn't just murder, they butchered civilians in Israel. They killed Jews, and they gloated about it on camera. And the whole mess of Gaza is the result of that terroristic action on the part of Hamas. And one thing I wish President Biden would focus on is the hostage situation. We have 5 American citizens who are still being held hostage. We don't ever hear about them. We don't ever hear a demand to let them go. That's something that would, I think, also be important.
Yeah, we need more answers there. Just a horrifying almost 6 months for Israel. To your point, Israeli Defense Forces apologizing for this airstrike, the chief calling it a grave mistake. Do you think that that's enough to convince the world, though, especially allies, that this was nothing more than a tragic accident?
No, I don't. I wish I could say I did, but it's not going to help because there are so many people who are hateful toward Israel. Anti-Semitism is alive and well and growing. There is a outrage that is misplaced. The outrage is not directed toward Hamas, not directed toward the killing, toward the culture of killing that has been developed there. It's developed toward Israel defending itself, a tiny little sliver of land trying to just live its life in freedom. And that's what really I find so revolting across the globe, and especially with organizations like the United Nations, who have been atrocious in the imbalance with which they've dealt with this.
And this tragedy also comes as thousands of Israeli protesters recently took to those streets demanding Prime Minister Netanyahu step down. Governor, I know the last time you and I spoke on this program, you mentioned meeting with the Prime Minister just in December, I believe it was. How do you see these protests impacting his leadership as the war rages on?
Well, clearly there is dissatisfaction on the part of some Israelis, but polls show that overwhelmingly Israel supports the prime minister. Sometimes the loudest voices and the most vociferous ones may not necessarily be the majority. We see that here in our own country. But clearly he has this very strong faction of people who are against him. But it would be a huge mistake to change leadership in the midst of the war. Will he continue after this war is resolved and has been fully prosecuted? Hamas is rooted out, hostages are returned. He may not. But the bigger issue for now is this is no time to say, okay, we don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. Those people haven't liked him before the war. They don't like him during. They're not going to like him afterwards. And that's the reality that Israel faces, not unlike what we face here in the United States with strong divisions.
And, Gov, I only have a few seconds left. Any plans to go back soon and meet with him again?
I will be back later, probably this summer. And I'm sure when I'm there, I'll see him. And I look forward to it and try to encourage him, because it's not an easy job being prime minister of a nation that so many people irrationally hate.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.